Hello everyone, my name is Linda Roysum from Prosperous Massage Practice, and today I am very pleased to have Susan and Shane Epperly with me, and we are going to be discussing their very new DVD called Spray and Stretch. Susan and Shane Epperly are both licensed massage therapists in private practice, specializing in pain relief through clinical massage therapy. Susan and Shane incorporate a unique and powerful combination of therapeutic techniques into their practice, including clinical massage therapy, myofascial trigger point therapy, postural and gait analysis, kinesiotherapeutic taping, spray and stretch, muscular release techniques, endermotherapy, cold laser therapy, and the use of deep muscle stimulator. Their clinic is in Austin's SoCo district at 1902 D South Congress Avenue in Austin. Susan and Shane also own Tiger Lily Studios, through which they produce and distribute educational materials, including videos, ebooks, and MP3 audiobooks for health, wellness, and beauty professionals. Tiger Lily Studios has recently released an instructional video entitled Techniques and Application of Vapocoolant Spray and Stretch, which they're here to talk about today. So you two have created an instructional DVD called Spray and Stretch, as I just mentioned. Can you tell us first exactly what is Spray and Stretch?
Do you want to answer that?
Sure, yeah. It's really just the application of a vapocoolant spray to chill down the surface of the skin to basically, in short, create a distraction for the nervous system so that you can move the area or muscle into a range of motion that would normally be painful. So you're able to kind of sidestep that pain component and stretch out the muscle, and that's when the trigger point's released. So it can be really, really effective. It's not it's not a fix all on all the time, but it can be very, very effective.
Can you give me a basic explanation of how and why the spray and stretch techniques work? Like, what would you tell your clients?
Sure.
Well, it's like Shane mentioned, when you apply the Vapocoolant spray to the surface of the skin, it cools the skin, it chills the skin suddenly, which provides a numbing effect. And that numbing effect essentially suppresses the pain response. And the pain response is something that's pretty integral to the entrenchment and perpetuation of the trigger point. So if you can suppress that pain response, you can move, like Shane was saying, you can move the muscle into a stretch that it normally wouldn't be willing to do. You can kind of coax it into moving past what would normally cause pain. And if you're not feeling the pain, then you're able to move past that and move the muscle into a stretch, which then in turn kind of unravels the trigger point, so to speak. So,
and the key with the spray or the vapocoolant is the fact that it chills the skin suddenly, but then it's instantaneous in dropping the temperature, but then it evaporates as quickly.
Immediately,
so, yeah,
right.
So,
what is the history behind spray and stretch? How is it developed?
Well, a lot of therapists are familiar with it because it was documented very thoroughly, actually, in Travell and Simon's work. And but the really early days of it, even before it was documented in Travell and Simon's, involved an interesting cast of characters, including doctors and physical therapists and skiers and circus performers. And you actually did a great interview with Jeff Lutz, mm-hmm. who was very involved actually in the production of the video. He contributed a lot to the video. But your interview with him on your Massage Unwrapped show was so great, and he did a great job of talking about the history of spray and stretch. And so instead of trying to relate that whole story, I think I would direct people to go check out that interview, which was super informative in other ways, but I thought that was really interesting the way he explained the history of how it came to be.
Well, so I'll put a link to that interview below this so that other massage therapists can check it out if they haven't already.
Yeah.
Great interview.
When would you use this type of technique? Is there certain situations where it would be more appropriate than another?
It's generally best to use this for fairly acute conditions or injuries versus chronic ones. So basically, the sooner you see a client, the better if you intend to use this technique. And I would say, maybe about 3 months?
3 to 6 months is a good
out.
Kind of barometer.
Would be the cutoff time for, like, for instance, if somebody had an accident, car accident, something like that, and had a shoulder injury, 3 to 6 months after the accident would be like the cutoff for it to get measurable results faster, or?
It's really just, as we all know with trigger points, it really just kind of depends on each situation. Sometimes I'll use it even though I'm working with somebody with a pretty chronic condition, and knowing that it may not help much, but it surprisingly sometimes can be a huge contributing factor in unraveling that trigger point. Other times it doesn't do anything. So the nice part about the spray is that it's quick, it's easy, and it's basically toss it at it, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't, then you're not really out anything.
Yeah, generally we can expect to see better results if we get to the condition sooner. But like you said, sometimes we can be dealing with older injuries and issues that respond very well to it. But generally speaking, it's better for more acute conditions.
So is there any contraindications to spray and stretch? Are there any contraindications to spray and stretch?
There are some. That would include poor circulation, insensitive skin, if someone's unable to sense temperature changes, a compromised ability to sense temperature changes. Of course, because, being that the spray is so cold, the client needs to be aware of any pain that might result from over chilling. So those would be the main ones that I would suggest. Yeah. So
we talked a little bit about the benefits from a client perspective, but let's talk a little bit more about from a practitioner's perspective. What are some of the advantages of using the spray and stretch technique?
Well, I think it's great because it's quick and effective, and it's less wear and tear on the hands. When you're dealing with large muscle groups that are particularly wound up with a bad trigger point, you can work pretty quickly and effectively over a broad range of muscles, and hopefully release that complex a lot quicker than you would manually going in and releasing each muscle.
And it's generally less painful for the clients.
Yeah,
it's less painful than, digging into those trigger points. Since the whole idea is to suppress the pain response, that's going to be more comfortable for the clients. And like Shane mentioned, less wear and tear on our hands, and anything we can find that's going to help us get the same results with less physical work as far as our hands and our bodies is obviously a good thing for us.
We do a lot of work, of course, with the clinical aspect, so we're obviously very geared towards results. So, I don't want to make it sound like, people aren't coming in for relaxation massage as well with us, but for the most part, whatever tools we can use to help unravel the pain that they are in and get them out of it quickly, I'm all for it. And like I say, the spray has been very, very effective. So
right, work smarter, not harder, right?
That's
in all aspects of your business. Now you have this video. Is it a DVD or just a video download? The techniques and applications of Vapocoolant spray and stretch.
Great question. It is a direct download, but we do have physical copies as well available. So it's a little bit more expensive for the physical copy.
There you go. Hello.
You got the discs printed, and so those are available as well.
So what made you two decide to create a video for the spray and stretch?
Well, we've used this technique in our practice, and it's been really effective for us. We've found it to be really valuable. And as we've talked to other therapists, a lot of other therapists, either they learned about this in school and they've forgotten about it, or they've just for some reason dismissed it as a viable modality. And it's just a really great, effective way to get better results quicker, we've found. And we thought, this could be really valuable for other therapists. And we just thought it was something that we'd like to remind people about, basically, because a lot of folks like I mentioned, a lot of folks learned about it in school, but for whatever reason, it just kind of fell by the wayside, and they never really pursued it, or pursued incorporating it into their practice.
So somebody purchasing your video or the DVD, they could actually look at it, get the Vapocoolant, provided they've had experience with the trigger point work. They could actually start to incorporate the Vapocoolant into their massage practice.
Most definitely, yeah.
It's we've included, all of the safety concerns, contraindications, background on how and why it works, and then it's obviously helpful. The more experience or background people have in anatomy and physiology, kinesiology, all that's going to be helpful. But we've provided charts that show not only the trigger point locations and the pain referral areas, but also the spray patterns. There are charts that show that, and then there are interactive anymations, and then live demonstrations. So yeah, it's pretty much something that anyone could, anyone who has, any massage therapist who has some training in anatomy and physiology could view this and
pick it up real quick.
Yeah.
Where would you suggest that a practitioner get the spray, the Vapocoolant?
Go ahead. The Vapocoolant, the source that we prefer is triggerpointproducts.com.
Okay.
And they have all the spray that you would need, and really that's the only supply. That's the other great thing about this modality, is that it's so portable. You can do it in your own clinic, you could do it at a sporting event, you could do it in a client's home, because all you need is that little can of spray and the knowledge, and you're set to go. So that's something that we really like about it too.
And you could add to that, maybe with the supplies, I think of maybe a little heating pad, electric heating pad is nice. The Vapocoolant does evaporate quickly, but it's just nice to kind of put that on the skin real quick, just to kind of warm it back up, even though it just mostly because it feels nice. You're hitting folks with a quick burst of cold, and it's kind of nice to add that back in, and it will also help with the muscle not re-triggering immediately. So it is actually a fairly important component as well, but you can always heat that up a multitude of different ways. A nice way is just to leave a heating pad on it for a few seconds there.
Now, you mentioned the review of anatomy and physiology, which is, since I don't do trigger point, that's one of the things that I was like, wow, this is a great review. What are some of the other advantages of viewing the DVD or video?
Well, it certainly gives a great overview on how to stretch all these muscles. And I think that's something that we all get in school, but it's when you start working through the body, it's like, oh wow, I haven't worked with this muscle in a long while, and what's the action, synergist, antagonist, and so it's nice because it breaks it down and shows you how to do those stretches for that. So outside of just the spray component, it's also pretty effective for learning the stretches, how to lengthen those muscles.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that, when I take a class, it seems like those type of clients show up like right after I've taken the class, and I'm like, oh yeah. So, it was a back class. So you mentioned that people might forget some of the stretches and stuff like that. So if they review it, they're probably going to get those clients on the table.
Right.
And it's nice because we're isolating individual muscles in terms of the stretch. So instead of a broad generalized stretch, you're stretching a targeted muscle. So
there's like 45 muscles in the video.
Yeah.
So we show each muscle separately. There's a separate protocol for each muscle. So for each muscle that we list, you're going to learn how to do the spray, the stretch, the entire process. And like Shane mentioned, even if you're not doing spray and stretch, this is going to teach you how to stretch that particular muscle, and that can be something that can be good to be reminded of. And the key with the spray and stretch is, the spray and the stretch are both integral components of this technique. So the video obviously walks you through, both parts of that, how to put the muscle into the stretch, and then how to apply the spray in a way that's going to be effective.
I know you provided us a clip of just a portion of the video. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now.
The practitioner should begin by turning the patient's head away from the involved side and subtly tilting the patient's chin inferiorly toward the contralateral clavicle. The patient's chin should then be gently guided superiorly so as to stretch the sternal division of the SCM muscle. Once this stretch has been achieved, the practitioner can commence the application of the Vapocoolant spray, not only along the muscle fibers, but also over all of the possible pain referral areas for the sternal division of the SCM muscle, regardless of whether the client is actually experiencing pain in all of the possible pain referral areas. As the muscle is released, the stretch can be increased incrementally.
Okay, I noticed that you had with a little trigger point chart that shows up. Now, is there a download to the DVD that goes over those particular? Because you have it in the center, but then it goes kind of off to the background. Do you, like, if somebody wanted to take a closer look at that, is that part of a download too?
Not currently at the moment. Those images are they're copyrighted by the Gebauer Corporation.
Okay.
So
they provided us with the images, and I'm not sure if you could get those images from them on a poster or.
At this point, I'm not quite sure what the arrangement would be with that. So we don't have that currently.
Okay.
We tried to set it up so that when it you were mentioning as big on the screen there, we've allowed kind of a length of time where you can kind of pause the video and be able to see it as a larger format.
Yeah, certainly you can do that. I was just thinking, the people who wanted to just look at it at a much in depth or not having to go through the video or something like that. But
exactly. We have talked about and kicked around the idea of putting together flashcard type flashcards for the video, but as yet it hasn't come together. So,
but that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, you guys have been busy with other projects. I know about some of the other projects you've been doing. So who has time, right? So hopefully you'll get to that at some point in the future.
We'll
but
put it on the list.
On the keep there.
You need to duplicate yourself a couple of times over. So how can somebody get your video or the DVD, and what is the cost of each?
Right now it's available on TigerLilyStudios.com. That's our website. And then it's also available on TriggerPointProducts.com, which is the website I mentioned that carries the spray. And
actually, I'll post a link to the video below this too. What is the cost difference between the video and the DVD?
That's a great question. It's $19.95 for the direct download. That gets you the instant download, and then the DVD itself is $29.95 for the physical disc. So
okay.
Plus you get the download.
You get the download either way, but you can pay $19.95 for just the download, or $29.95, right, for both. So
okay.
Some folks like to have the physical disc in their library and have it in their hands.
Right.
Or for schools that want to use it as a teaching aid.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Before I let you guys go, I wanted to just say, Shane, you just did a marvelous job with the were you using a teleprompter? That's what I want to know. Or did you have those all memorized? I mean, it was just, I was like, wow, something to strive for. And how many takes did you do? And how many takes did it take?
For the introduction part of the spray and stretch video?
Yeah, when you were introducing each muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I must confess, I had a teleprompter there to kind of help me keep on track, because if anybody knows me, I can wander and be talking for hours, so we want to keep them on track.
Well, I thought that was a teleprompter or no. I was like totally impressed. I was like, wow, this is really good.
He's got some pretty mad editing skills too, so that helps.
Well, it was a beautifully produced video, and I'm sure that the massage therapists who either get the video or the DVD will be very pleasantly surprised with the quality. And like I said before, just the review in anatomy, I was like, totally blown away. I was like, wow, everybody should have this, because, sometimes we forget those, especially the little muscles, the ones that you mentioned earlier that we don't deal with all the time, and you happen to get that client and you're like, oh yeah, what was that again?
Right.
Don't kid yourself. I'm constantly be with a client and I'll be thinking, okay, now how did we shoot that? How did we do the, to go back over it? Because it's just, no matter how many times you work with stuff, you've got a lot coming at you, and over time you need those little things to kind of help you. So.
Well, I know you mentioned your website, tigerlilystudios.com, but I know you also have a presence on Facebook. What is your page there? Do you have a Tiger Lily Studios? Is that where you want people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, we have a Tiger Lily Studios fan page. And if you just search Tiger Lily Studios on Facebook, it should be easy to find. I think it's actually Facebook/Tiger Lily Studios, or Facebook.com/Tiger Lily Studios. And then we have another fan page for our practice, which is listed under Susan and Shane Epperly, licensed massage therapists. And I set up fan pages for the products as well.
Oh, for the products too. Okay.
We've got a few of these fan pages. But yeah, I set up fan pages for the spray and stretch video and our other products as well. So one way or another, people could fan us and keep up to date on what's going on. And joining our mailing list too is probably the best way to keep up with the new products that we come out with. If you go to our website, Tiger Lily Studios, there's a button to sign up for our mailing list, and we send out a client newsletter, but we also send out a practitioner newsletter every few months, updating people on what's new, and we just kind of try to throw in some fun tidbits that would be of interest to fellow massage therapists. So that's a good way to keep up with us.
For more marketing tips for your massage practice, be sure to go to prosperousmassagepractice.com or visit me on Facebook at Creating a Prosperous Practice. If you like this video, make sure you click the like button. Oh, and share it with your friends.